Welcome to a new episode of MIZAN Podcast, jointly between Observer and Law and Life. This episode, we welcome a guest who is actually very passionate about the legal profession in Oman and has been advancing it for a while. Let's welcome together Dr. Professor Beverly Baker Kelly. Welcome to MIZAN.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Professor Beverly. We used to see you in classroom in the college, just assisting the students and actually inspiring them to their career in the legal profession. So I'll start my question with, you've earned this degree from UC Berkeley School of Law, Harvard University, and Columbia University. This combination of esteemed institutions in the U.S. What drove you to pursue such an extraordinary academic journey, and how did each institution shape your intellectual identity?
Well, first of all, my grandfather was a lawyer, and his sons were both lawyers. But my father, who had a master's in history, decided that he wanted to teach, and he went into the public schools of Detroit. And he wanted to become he wanted to move up to be an assistant principal and a principal of a school, but he didn't make it. He didn't make the cut. So I was an only child. I am an only child, and I said, "That's okay, Dad. I'll do it for you."
Wow.
And so I was also historically a child of the affirmative action, so that they were looking for talented and motivated African Americans who wanted to go on to your elite colleges. My grandfather had gone to the University of Michigan, which is an elite college, but all of the schools opened up, to a certain slowly, but they opened up. And I was just there, and I applied for these. I always said, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to marry a doctor and I'm going to be a doctor. And so that's how I started at Columbia. Now, I started at Columbia Teachers College, and because I had been in education in undergraduate school at the University of Michigan. My cousins went there. My cousins went on to law school there, and with my grandfather being an alumnus of there, and also others in my family wanted to be educated. So I went from there to Columbia Teachers College, and I earned a master's degree and in guidance counseling. And then from there, I went on to another master's degree in philosophy and the social sciences.
But what is guidance?
Guidance counseling?
Counseling?
A guidance counselor at a college.
At a college. So you study...
That's what I studied initially.
Your master's degree.
And then I went on to become very interested in what was going on in Africa and in the world. So I went over to the School of International Affairs and worked for another master's degree. And then I said, I should really go on to law school. By that time, I was married.
Right.
And I told my husband, look, I'm going to go on for law school. But because you have chosen Michigan as your place where you're going to do your internship and residency, then I'm going to commute.
Right.
And I commuted from Detroit, Michigan, where I had one baby, and I went to Harvard for a PhD in sociology.
How was the commuting? Is it daily, and how long is it?
No. I would go on a. I would choose my courses, so I would be back by Friday, and I would stay there for 3 days and go out to my courses, and then go home and study.
So you use flight or other?
Yes. It's
You have to fly.
It's about 6 hours, and so yes, I commuted, and my husband continued working. He says, "You're not going to have me selling pencils in the street. I have to keep working." And so I went on and went to Harvard and did the PhD. And then by that time, that's when I said, I should really go to law school. So I applied to the University of California, which was in Berkeley, California, which I also commuted to from Los Angeles. I commuted for every week and went to law school for 3 years. Our educational system is such that you finish undergraduate school and then you go to law school for 3 years for a professional degree. Here in Oman, they follow the English system, which means that you can study law as an undergraduate here, but you can't do that in the United States. They have certain caveats of how you can do it, but you can't.
But what is
normally.
your thoughts about it? Do you think that American approach is allowing the graduate, first of all, to mature, then later on?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I think that you have, after that, you have more. And then you also have a period when you can work after you graduate from undergraduate school and then apply. So you have that work experience, you see, also. And I think, and focus. That's what you want. You want focus. You want to know. I never knew what I wanted to do. I was always grasping.
So you would be a different person if you pursued legal education immediately after high school, right?
Yes. But not only that, I didn't know what type of law I wanted to go into because I came from a family of lawyers, but I wasn't sure. And so I latched on to international law because I was really involved in and thinking about the larger world and what you would do with the larger world. So back at Harvard, I also received another master's degree, which was called en passant. You do it here too. You finish all the coursework, you do a master's thesis, and then you continue on for the PhD. So that was my fourth, right?
Yes.
And then I graduated from law school, and by that time I had another baby that I had commuted to. I moved from Detroit to Cambridge with my second baby, and I took someone to help me along, and my husband was changing to Brown University, where he was going to be the medical director for the students. So and everyone was saying, "What are you doing? Why are you doing this?" And they were all dressing their children, their kids in my peers in Saks Fifth Avenue or whatever clothes, and I didn't really care about that. My values were to grow internally and to grow professionally. And I used two principles. One, I knew that I wanted to go on. But two, I never listened to people. I didn't keep them around me, and I want to say that to our audience. If people are pulling you back, leave them. Go on. and do what you want to do. Carve out your own trajectory for your world. Yeah. And you also need another thing. You need a supportive spouse. And my spouse was very supportive. He was very accomplished in what he was doing. He was a dermatologist, and he was an expert in skin diseases in people of color. And so he went on. He was the head of the residency program. He had 6 residents that he was training in Los Angeles. And so I said, fine, I'm going to go to Berkeley, which was the best school in the area and the one I got into. So I went on, I studied, I managed my household at home, and then I had several different types of jobs. But let you ask some of your questions.
Yes, actually it's so interesting and resides a lot with advice you give to people who are pursuing their career and also life objective.
In general.
Yes. So I want to ask you about the combination between law and sociology. You came to this combination so early in your career. Could we talk about it?
I'm just not sure how I did that. I just kept on going.
Right.
I said, no, sociology is okay, but I think I want more. I want to and you see, the law degree was the real, even though it was a PhD at Harvard, the law degree was still more, it's not that it was prestigious, it's what you could do for your society.
Right.
That was the issue.
Mm. So this just confirms that you feel there is a greater link between sociology, society, and law.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
I mean, I think your worldview, you see, my worldview continued to develop the whole time. Education has you develop. The more you read, the more you are exposed. And that was it. In undergraduate school, I had gone to England, and I said, I want to travel.
All right. So speaking of exposure, okay, it's very fascinating to know that you served later on away from academia as a deputy registrar to the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda.
Correct.
What's this journey?
Well, I got the job. I thought it was interesting, and I thought that it would take me to Tanzania. I had been to Africa before, but this was a UN job, and it was at a tribunal, and it was legal, and I could use my legal skills and my legal acumen. And I found it, they had 100 or something nationalities working there.
Multinational.
And I found it inscrutable almost, because you have to really be aware of the cultures that you're working with. And I wasn't always aware. I wasn't as astute. I hadn't been exposed to as many cultures as I was when I was at the tribunal.
Right. And you had to travel to Africa at that time?
Oh, yes, I lived there.
Right. How long?
2 years.
Right.
2 years I was at the tribunal, two and a half. And it was, the UN is a different type of animal to work for. But actually I found that it is, as all organizations, and this is what women must understand, all organizations have their culture, and you have to adapt to that culture. You must learn the rules, you must learn the informal rules, you must understand hierarchy, which I had a hard time doing because I was American and I wasn't
young and
and I wasn't ordinarily used to being so regimented by the quote higher up, but I learned.
Right.
And it prepared me to be in Oman, which is a highly structured society.
Oh, I see.
It goes from the top to the bottom.
What was the time duration between your assignment in Tanzania and to coming to Muscat? Few years?
Yeah, what happened was, again, my husband was speaking in Czechoslovakia, and I was helping the National Bar Association, which is the African American Bar Association, plan a trip to Dubai. And so while I was doing this, the travel agent said, you know, you should really take a car and go around the area. And so I said, Oman? I never heard of Oman.
Which year was that?
This was, I don't know, years.
Maybe in 2000.
We came here in 2010, so it had to be about 2008.
Right.
And so I came to Oman, and we were traveling down to Sur, down to Muscat, and with a car, which I thought was very expensive and very much more posh than I was used to. But so we went down, and they were having a school convocation that someone told me about at breakfast. So I went there, and I loved the students. You see, for 5 years before, I had monitored elections for the various countries. And I saw in Africa.
And this on what capacity?
As an
Observer?
Observer.
Yeah.
You're an election monitor.
Right.
And for a particular organization, for the Carter Center, for the NDI, which is the National Democratic Institute, etc. So, and again, I want to say to our audience, I was able to get those positions because of my education and exposure. I would not have been qualified to be on the team to go to those election monitoring because they were doing for national elections.
So your qualification takes you places.
Yes.
Literally.
Literally. And so, but then I got to Oman, and I remember going to this school, and although all the girls were separated and all the boys were separated, I went to talk to each group, and they said, yeah, we're doing fine, and we're studying, and we're getting ready to graduate. And they had all of the equipment. They were showing videos that they had made, and they were reciting poetry, and they were so enthusiastic. I said, oh, these are interesting people. So then we continued on, and we traveled near Muscat, and we went into a spice shop, and the driver said, these people are from America. And the man said, America, #1. And I said, why? And he said, Barack Obama. Okay. We align ourselves with Barack Obama and what he's doing for his people.
Right.
So I came back. I went back to the United States, and I said, I'm going to apply for a Fulbright scholar, and I'm going to name Oman as the place that I want to go. And my husband, because he was such a stellar had such a stellar background. He could come here, and because of your relationship with Oman's relationship with Tanzania, there was a great interest in keloids. Keloids are scars that grow beyond the bounds of the scar.
Right.
Skin that grows beyond. Mm-hmm. And so he was doing research on that. And he attracted the people who in the State Department who were choosing the people. And I had also been a dean at a small college in Oakland.
What's the name of that college?
The East Bay Law School. And we were trying to get people of color to qualify to be in law school. That was the purpose. And it was run by a black woman, Doris Bell. And she was intent on having this school be scholarly. So I became the dean, an associate dean, and we went on to teach there. And then that was the precursor for applying to come to Oman to teach at Modern College of Business and Science.
Wow.
And that's how we got here. We were the first African-American couple to go to the same city, same country, and to be in different fields. He was at SQU Hospital, the dermatology department. I was at Modern College.
Wow, that's fascinating. And
16 years ago.
Wow, time flies, and we still are hungry for more of your passion to advance the legal profession in Oman from academic point of view.
Well, I want to see the students really hunger for education and really stop asking, well, teacher, is this going to be on the exam? I say to them, look, you don't want to study for an exam. You want to study for knowledge, because that's what makes you grow. And that's what allows you to open up your vistas and to open up your view of the world. Yes. Is education.
And eventually you will answer the exam questions also.
Yes, eventually you're going to pass the course.
Yes.
But not about what's on the test. You want to know, what do I need to know about this area of the law?
Professor Beverly, you talked about being a monitor to elections.
Yes.
One of them is very important milestone, which is to observe election during the Nelson Mandela era.
Yes.
You worked as
an election observer.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about it.
Well, I was on the stage with Nelson Mandela. He was doing his cultural dance when he had won. The streets were filled with people. Mm-hmm. But more so than that, even in looking at and observing the elections, which were pretty free and fair, you had people who came with a sheet, and they were being carried to the polling place because they said, I want to vote, and how important it is for people to be in a participatory democracy.
So you mean they were not feeling well or handicapped?
Well, they were ill. They were old.
Right, yeah.
Some of them.
So they have that motivation to...
And then they stood in the sun for hours waiting to vote. And that made me know that I should never miss an election, no matter where I am in the world. I should always be involved with what's going on in the United States so that I can have my say in the democratization of our society, which is being dismantled as we speak.
Right. Now, speaking of democracy and all that, we want to just shed light on conducting comparative research on commercial law across GCC countries. That's a topic that you are interested in. Tell us, when did it happen during the last 16 years?
It's been hard. It is not something, it is in its infancy, because first of all, you need to speak Arabic to really understand what's going on in the various countries. Some countries are in their infancy as far as developing the legal system. So it's like comparing apples and oranges. You have some countries in the GCC that are really trying. For instance, some of the sultans, what do you call them, when the royal decrees?
Yes.
They're trying to develop the various areas of law, the various commercial areas. And the reason they want to do that is because they want to encourage people to feel that they can get a fair shake if something happens and they need to contest what has gone on. As you know, in commercial law, something always goes on. And they want to know that the court system is not against them and doesn't use WASTA to make its decision, but makes its decisions on judicial principles. The difference between civil law and common law is that our common law is based on stare decisis, and they look at the written cases, and then in looking at the written cases, they decide if this case is similar to
current.
Yes, that's the common law. The civil law is different and is almost inscrutable as to how they make their decisions. And the law here in Oman is based on the Egyptian law, which is in turn based on the French law. So ferreting out all of those differences is not easy and is a lifetime journey for me.
Right. Why commercial law is your interest in this research?
Well, it's the engine that drives the people and the cultures. And when I look at the newspapers, I read the newspapers every single day, and I want to say to your audience, please read the newspapers. Please know what is going on in your society. I can read the international news on the internet, and I do, but I want to know what's going on in Oman, and I want to know what's going on in the other GCC countries. There isn't enough that is covered from the various GCC countries because they're covering what people are interested in here, their own country. But I would like to see more cross-cultural discussions.
Right.
And you do that through convocations, through seminars, through speakers.
Right.
That's how you get your information. And you get it on TV.
Yes, speaking of the importance of media, dialogue, in legal advancements is so important that you select a keynote address. You spoke about, as a keynote address, you spoke about equity as a global growth model. How is that important?
Equity is the key. Using, for instance, I think Oman is light years ahead of some other countries as far as being equitable with their women and educating them and making sure. I think it was the Sultan, before this Sultan.
Sultan Qaboos, late Sultan Qaboos.
Yes. Who said, yes, educate our women because they are important to the development of this society. We cannot allow half of our population not to be educated. And they are in our colleges, and they are achievers. I don't know what's going to happen to the society culturally when women become achievers in the society and have to work on bringing up their children, dealing with their spouses, dealing with all of the family responsibilities. So I think that's the next big hurdle. But getting back to equity, if you don't have as a basis of democracy equity, you don't have a democracy. You must have, it must be the engine that is the basis for your development. It must be a fundamental principle, and it is.
It's like being a shareholder without a share. Right. This takes us to the 16 years journey and many to comes, hopefully, in being so close with undergraduates who you teach law, okay? You must have observed some changes through years in the personality of students, personality of graduates. Tell us about it.
You know, I think that Oman is a culture that has a strong stamp of culture on it. And so I don't see that much difference in my 16 years. I do see that my students want to study. I do see that they will stay until the last minute to do their exams. I don't know what happens, and we need more study about what happens to these young women who graduate. And I've often asked them, now, how are you going to handle your families and your spouses? Because they all want to get married, have the baby within the first year or two. And how are you going to handle that? And I have not received good feedback on how they handle
they haven't planned or they have no idea?
They're first-generation college students, many of them.
So you mean in their families?
In their families. Their grandmothers and their aunts and their mothers were not necessarily, they were stay-at-home mothers.
Right.
Which is a full-time job.
Right.
But they didn't have the demands of the professional world. And I think it's going to cause conflicts, as it does in every society. I don't know what the divorce rate is here. And I don't know what kind of pressure this puts on our young graduates, the men and the women. So,
that's a topic.
inshallah.
Yes, exactly, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But I think what you just mentioned is a so important topic to be addressed for the career profession, in every profession, not only in the...
And the work ethic.
Yes.
The work ethic is very important. And I remember when I was studying, people will say, well, who's taking care of your husband? And I said, I don't know. He'll have to take care of himself. He took care of himself 25 years before I met him.
Right.
And he'll do it again.
Mm.
I would make sure that everything was done, but I wasn't wedded to the idea that I had to do everything because I had my goals.
But do you think a balance should happen, or someone should tailor-made his own approach?
You know, it's growing. Mm-hmm. It's growing. The women want to work. They all, when I say, what do you want to do in your career? I want to get a job. I want to work.
Right.
So I think we need more study on this and how it's going to affect our society.
Sure. So we speak about negotiation and influence. You studied this topic at Berkeley's.
No, it was actually at Harvard.
Oh, sorry.
It said Berkeley, but it was actually at Harvard that I did negotiations.
Right. What's the importance of this skill?
The skill is that you can't have your way. You cannot always have your way. Mm-hmm. You have to, especially in this society. I try to make suggestions, but they're not the suggestions that people take up because they have to look at more things than I am privy to. And they don't give you a lot of information. For instance, there's certain things that happen in our educational schools, educational systems here, that could never happen in the United States. They could never just by edict say, okay, well, this is what will be on your exam. You don't have a Ministry of Higher Education that dictates. You do have regional entities that control what has to go on in your colleges, but not in the same way, not as controlling as far as the curriculum goes. And I think our present president is trying to change that in the United States, which is a shame, because it is to control the types of things that you teach.
So you want intellectual freedom?
Yes.
On the higher education level?
Absolutely.
And use these skills for negotiating and influencing?
Absolutely.
To get to a
and to realize that you can't always have your way.
Right? That's by itself is an achievement.
Yeah, and I think the larger families here teach you that you have to give up, that you don't always get your way. I'm an only child.
So is that okay?
I think that is what is needed in negotiation.
So you need more resilience to...
You do. You need to be able to... I remember I was talking to one person, he said, you know, you don't always get your way when you have a big family. He had a big family. Right. And these entities here are families, and you know that you don't always get your way. So negotiation helps.
Yes.
You see.
Right. This moves us to our last question about when we look back to your journey from academic scholarship to international tribunal to teaching in Muscat and many to come, I hope. What legacy do you hope to leave, and what advice would you give to young legal professionals who aspire combines leadership and global services?
I think the most important the important thing you want to do in life as individual women and men is to control your destiny. Now, I went on to school, to college, to get these degrees because I wanted to control my destiny. It was not clear to me that I was always going to be married, which I was for 48 years, 48 years. But I wanted to control my own destiny. And when my husband died 10 years ago, I did just that. I stayed right here, and I continued to work, and I want to work forever.
Well, God bless you.
I don't want to...
You inspire a lot of our audience right now.
Yes, I think it's important.
There's no such a thing called retiring.
No,
Right.
And don't give up at 65 and say, oh, well, I'm going to retire. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to let my children do everything for me. It doesn't work that way. Our society is changing for women and for men, and they're going to have to continue to be innovators and doers, and they're going to have to add to the society for as long as they can.
Right. There's no ending or expiry for this.
No, and it shouldn't be.
Right. So, it was the end of our episode today. I must ask you our final question about can we soon expect a book authored by Dr.
Absolutely.
Beverly?
Absolutely.
Really? How soon is that?
I don't know. I'm going to work on it this summer.
Right.
I'm not going to teach this summer so that I could do that.
Any news about the topic?
I'm not telling.
Okay, stay tuned with us until the book is out. We're so enthusiastic to host you again about the book and the topic and the journey itself. I'm sure it takes you a while because you are a very detail-oriented person and obviously not a perfectionist, but you look for ideal way to come up with a very
Quality.
Yes, quality, that's right. So at the end of the episode, it was so great to have you in MIZAN Podcast, Dr. Professor Beverly Baker Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.